Hello, my pipe sipping community. It was put beer to keg day. This is not going to be a tobacco review. It's not going to be a beer review either. Even flat. This is pretty good. It is an oatmeal stout, a chocolate oatmeal stout. But in the secondary fermentation, I actually let it go much longer. It's a gamble. Any of those of you who homebrew know oxidation risks it being off flavor. Get that weird banana flavor sometimes. It can also go bad, depending on alcohol volume and gravity and all that fun stuff, but it still has the potential to, once the oxygen gets in there. It is a beautiful 60 degrees today, which obviously I am still getting used to, certainly loving that it's 60 degrees and it's December. I'll take it. It's a dry, beautiful 60. Enjoying some Bengal slices out of my Peterson's, and this is a 2023 Jekyll and Hyde Halloween. But I thought I would at least touch a little bit on the fact of how we, as individuals, have sort of a responsibility, I guess, to stop and contemplate all sorts of facets of our lives. I think a lot of us in the pipe sipping community share, obviously there's outliers, this isn't a solid golden rule, but I think a lot of us do share that natural desire to slow down. Pipes make us do so. But we also tend to be more contemplative. And the reason why I bring it up is contemplation, when you kind of look at it, is sort of like an inadvertent gift. It was something that we all somehow, as humankind, it seems as though we've obtained, but somewhat begrudgingly. I've studied a lot of different cultures and histories of cultures and the sociological, anthropological, maturation of those societies. And those studies typically went into the religious component of a society because religion and culture were quite often, interwoven. Not so much as it is today, at least not in the Western Hemisphere. Certainly in other cultures it is still so. But without getting too deep and esoteric into it, throughout all the different cultures that I have studied, throughout the different timelines, really unique, some very creative narratives, but with the same, more or less the same lesson. Being that our ability to contemplate, to be self-aware, to be able to think the way that we do, was something that was not desired by the gods. Now, this could be something that we have created on our own, because we are so set apart, and we've noticed this for hundreds of thousands of years. But it truly is this gift, and it's one that also has this irresponsibility component to it, where we are the only creatures that have this ability to such an extent that is to our own demise when left ungoverned, whether it's self-governance or what have you. When you look at like Prometheus bound, in the Greek mythologies, stole the torch of knowledge, the flame of knowledge from Zeus and gave it to mankind, awakened them, right? There was the most of us are familiar with the Adam and Eve component of this enlightenment component that happened, and then you see that actually kind of perpetuate. There's the flood to kind of get rid of us because we're getting out of control, and then even shortly after that, again going by Judeo-Christianity, then we had the Tower of Babel, right? We're still becoming like gods, and that was a bad thing, and so confounded the language, spread us across the world, trying to slow down that piece. In ancient Sumer, the Sumerian text of the Epic of Gilgamesh, same thing. You can see it present in a lot of things. The Enuma Elish, you can see it in the Popol Vuh, the Mayan Book of Life. You can see it in the Nag Hammadi libraries. There's a lot of different cultures, a lot of different texts that all kind of have the same story of that. This is a huge, heavy responsibility that's been given, this almost unwarranted, undeserved gift that we have to be so contemplative. So why does that matter? Well, I think it matters for two reasons. Probably more, but I think the two pillars would be, one, not let that go to waste. Which is to say, we should not fetter our lives with fruitless endeavors, with mindlessness. We all need some time to check out. I do as well. I work in the mental health field and with youth that are at risk, and it's a high stress job. So there are times where I do need to just unplug and do something mindless, let the mind rest. Absolutely. Just don't let that be your normative. Like, ask yourself, when's the last time I really pressed myself to think of something deeply, or study something in depth, pick a subject, something worthwhile, and go down the rabbit hole and see how far you can go into your study of it, and make it something that's of substance, that's good for you, good for others. And the other reason why I think it's important, the other part of that pillar, is that not everything needs to be contemplated so esoterically either. Just look at yourself as an outsider as far as, how are you as a husband? How are you as a father? As a neighbor, as a friend? Even self-congruency. How are you with yourself? How do you view yourself? Well, I'm not going to go too deep. But I think it's, a lost component. It's one of those things that we don't quite realize just how special that ability is. And as you've noticed on my new intro, is a piece of a Masonic charge, or opening charge, which is to say, and this is in the cipher in plain English. This is on the net. I'm not giving away Masonic secrets. Some lodges don't even have an opening charge. The one here in Utah does not. But I loved it because at the beginning of that open charge, it's that knowledge, it's just we can obtain that by degrees, right? We can read books, we can go to school, but that true wisdom is through contemplation. And I've always loved that quote: wisdom through contemplation. You can be as book smart as the next and lack all wisdom. And again, there's just something so special about our ability to seriously sit and contemplate and think and mull over different facets of our lives and of the world around us. So food for thought. And as Shakespeare said, paraphrasing, that a good beer is a meal fit for a king. This stout is certainly a meal. I don't want to know the caloric value. I won't contemplate that. I will be ordering some tobacco blends shortly for the holiday season to kind of go through winter and have winter reviews and for my own sipping pleasure. I won't be doing that, though, until the end of this week. So any recommendations? By all means, I would love to hear them, so I can throw those in there so both you can hear the review and I can have the sipping experience of that blend. And until then, be well and happy sipping.